Green Onions would come on whenever I was hanging out with John Boy.
What is the best song you've listened to this year?
Probably like just for the first time.
Yeah,
Uh, like does that have to be a new song or can it
Yeah,
be?
it doesn't have
can,
to be from this year.
Yeah.
preferably, but if you can't do that, we'll take whatever.
I'm I was gonna say "Never Fight a Man with a Perm" by Idols
That's a good one.
I,
It's a good
or
one.
"I'm Scum" by Idols.
Also a good one.
I can't do this. I don't listen to music this way. I grab
Oh.
stuff very randomly, and then it's on
Hmm.
my iPhone, and then it's just in my shuffle playlist forever. I,
Then you
probably something that was in an anime.
okay. All right.
The Evangelion song.
I will
No.
say, just for this audience, probably I really enjoyed some of the new songs on the Scott Pilgrim show from Anamanaguchi this
Sure.
year. And I think those were fucking great. Um, very good stuff per usual from that crew. They were my most listened to band last year, according to Spotify. So I'm not too surprised that a late entry from them this year has become kind of my obsession.
I started listening to some Dua Lipa this year, and I think I like Dua Lipa.
I don't know if I know any Dua Lipa songs.
She's quite the shaker, right? She's like, wasn't there a meme of her doing a
I
particular type of dance?
I know that
Oh,
she's
I don't
very
know.
popular.
Yeah, I mean,
She was on like the Seth Meyers, Seth and Dua go day drinking thing.
That
okay.
is an
And
entertaining
It's an entertaining segment, and she was quite good in that. So I enjoyed.
Oh yeah.
I think the one where he and Rihanna go day drinking might be my favorite.
Yeah.
Also a good one.
Like one of the first ones I did.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm trying to look down this list, and it's like these are all these songs have been here forever.
I used to follow music similarly to how we cover games. Like it was something that I was pretty obsessed with. Like even early on had considered doing a music blog for new releases and stuff. Like that is something I have not stuck to, but tonight we will be talking about things that we should stick to, because this is our 2024 resolutions episode. We have not been live episode. We haven't been live with a traditional show for several weeks now, because we had all of our Game of the Year coverage, and before that we had our Game of the Year coverage for Keeley. So I think, and even before that was a December preview. So it's been a minute.
We've just been moving different recently.
We've been moving differently. And if you haven't tuned into us before, I'm Bobby. I host the Casual Hour. Joining me always is Chase and Johnny. How are you two doing?
Doing great, Bobby. Thank you.
Nice. This is episode 357, if you can believe it, and our last episode of 2023. And so with that, we are going to tell you about a lot of games that we have been able to just kind of fucking chill and lean into and not feel the pressures of finishing things on time, maybe finishing them for other reasons. But we're going to talk about that, and then we're going to let you know our resolutions, and they can be as very accurate and followed to the T as, hey, I'm not going to pre-order games anymore, to something as audacious as, I will write notes about every video game I touch. So we'll let you know what that looks like tonight.
We've also kept it generally pretty broad. Like I think last year I was going to read some books. But those books were tangentially related to some video games. But free form.
I said I was going to get into horror games.
And you did.
And I absolutely did.
Did we want to pull up last year's and see how we did on?
Yeah, it should be episode like 306, 305.
I'll look it up while you guys.
I think it's somewhere around there. But again, as Chase is doing that, we did wrap up 3 episodes worth, I should say, of Game of the Year content, which was our casual categories. 20 categories spread across 2 episodes, and then we do our definitive top 10 list. That also includes our personal top 10 list. Always a great time. And then we had a reaction episode just before all those for Jeff Keighley's Game Awards show. So you got our reaction to some of the trailers and overall thoughts on just that presentation. And we have all been working hard to play games for that. But we had, I think, a Black Friday or holiday sale near the end of November. Then we had some winter sale stuff happening. So I know we've got a lot to talk about tonight as far as games we've been playing.
Not a lot.
It looks like we didn't list them, but we said we were gonna.
Okay.
We have a thing that says we would do resolutions.
Yeah, that sounds like something we would do, but we won't have that problem going forward because we added it to our note, and we will put those in as we cover the games we've been playing. So we've got a lot to get through tonight. Anything that you all want to add on our Game of the Year stuff, or should we get into what you've been playing?
Viewfinder was robbed. No, it's whatever.
It was robbed. Chase, what have you been playing?
Not a lot, honestly. The one thing I really have been playing is my speaking of resolutions, last year my resolution was to do this backlog roulette thing, which I think went quite well. And this is my final commitment to it. Is the month of December. The game that was chosen was Astria Ascending, which is a game on lots of things, but I'm playing on my Switch. It's a JRPG, and so I've been playing a good chunk of that now that Game of the Year is over, and I've got this time to play this and write about it before the end of the year. And January starts back up, and
this is a Switch game, correct?
I'm playing it on the Switch. It's on pretty much everything.
All right.
Is
it bad?
There's so many cool ideas in here.
Oh no, it's not good, is it?
With just a layer of really boring, jittery, weak. Nothing.
That sucks.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a pretty typical JRPG one of the weird things to me that's also kind of interesting, they just give you all the characters from the very beginning. You have
You have a
8
full
party
party?
members, and they're just like, yeah, here's all
They,
8.
and they just like know each other.
Yeah. So
Already.
I think the story is actually, or the premise. The story's not very good. The premise is kind of interesting. Is that there are these 8 demigods, and you get chosen to be a demigod, and when you come and be a demigod, you have 3 years to live. But you have incredible powers and are given incredible authority to like live and work in the big city called Harmony, and talk to a goddess. I forgot what her name is. She just looks like a
You
normal
know.
human. It's not a big. It's whatever.
You know. I'm looking at the Wikipedia
Yes,
right now.
yes. I know it is. It is. You know. But she just looks like a normal person. So they keep calling her goddess, and I'm trying to figure out why she's important. But so you have these 8 demigods, many of different races. There are a lot of humans, but there are also a few other races in there as well. And the problem with Harmony is that there are some things called noises that seem to be attacking randomly, and so it's the jobs of the demigods to go in and stop the noises and figure out what's going on and why Harmony is being attacked that way. So it's got kind of a neat premise, because when they come into the game, the 3 years are almost up. These characters have 3 months to live, so some of them are being kind of glib about it. Some of them are pretty young, so they're kind of bummed, like, oh, I'm about to die.
Yeah.
Some of them had to
It
leave
kind of
their
reminds
families.
me of what they do in Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
Sure, I can see that.
Like the characters have a very finite lifespan.
Mm-hmm. So that stuff's pretty interesting. When you get into the actual game stuff, though, it's a pretty standard JRPG. It looks nice in screenshots for sure. It's got kind of a vanillaware look to it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
like,
looking
I was
at it
going to
right
ask
now.
about that.
Yeah, it's like, look how nice these models are. It
Yeah.
looks like it's fucking Dragon's Crown over here. And then they start moving, and you go, oh, this is kind of that like live 2D. We're stretching the models more than we're actually animating things for real. And things animate in kind of a weird way, and it doesn't look all that great in motion. It doesn't have much in the way of what I've heard people call juice. So like having like a really juicy game that has a lot of
For sure.
interesting feedback. You know, whether that's the hit stop on animations, so like when you hit an enemy, sometimes there's like a split second. If you've seen Sakurai talk about this in his YouTube stuff when he's talking about Smash, like if you use the home run bat on somebody, there's this split second when you make contact where it just freezes everything, and then the animation goes. So it really makes that impact feel like, oh, this is the big important frame, and then everything happens.
That's awesome.
And this game just kind of doesn't have that. The audio design in a lot of the attacks is weak. There's a music track that just kind of keeps going over everything at the very same volume. So cutscenes or regular stuff, it's just the music's still just constant, and it doesn't really raise or lower or make you get excited about anything. It's just kind of blasé the whole time, even though the game seems to have a lot of cool ideas. I think the way that they do, like each character has their own starting class, and then you can get a kind of an extra job that they get that will change their appearance and change the weapons that they use and change their skill trees. There are these big constellation skill trees that kind of remind me of something like from Skyrim, but it's just this giant grid. I guess it's also kind of like the sphere grid from Final Fantasy X, I think is what it is, where you're just picking a lot of options on these things and getting bonus skills or bonus stats. And that stuff's kind of cool. And when you get a new job, you get a complete second constellation of things that you can do, and you can put those points into all sorts of things. And then apparently there's like sub jobs that I haven't gotten yet. I'm about 5, so I'm in chapter. I just finished chapter 5, and there are 17 chapters.
Short little thing.
People an idea of what's going on. Yeah, I think it says it's like about a 25-hour game, and I think I've probably put about 5 to 10 hours into it so far.
Okay.
So it's got some pretty cool ideas. It just every time I play it, it's just kind of boring. The dungeon design is extremely samey, and you're just walking through these environments that remind me a little bit of the structure of uh, speaking of the Vanillaware game, the Muramasa the Demon Blade. That's what I'm looking for.
Did that ever
Where
come out?
Yeah.
Okay.
It came out on the GameCube and it came out on the PSP. It came out long ago. It hasn't got a Switch port. Is what I want. They should do that. Other games of Vanillawares have been ported to the Switch, but not this one. So it's kind of structured that way, but all the backgrounds are so samey and boring that you just get lost in another desert area that has a couple of platforms in it. It's just kind of whatever, and it shouldn't be. It should be a lot better than it is. And it's hard to put my finger. I know I've said a handful of things here that it could be, but it just feels like there's so many things.
Like mid to higher.
Yeah, it was getting like 6s and 7s. Yeah.
Do you think that's about where it's going to sit for you? Or are you going to keep playing?
It's probably lower for me because I'm getting frustrated by seeing the potential that is missed here, but it does have that potential, which you kind of want to reward in some way and go, oh, hey, they had some cool ideas here. They tried a thing, but the execution of it is just so weak that I come out feeling like, that's kind of whatever. I turned the difficulty down to the very easiest at this point to just kind of chew through some of this stuff. And it is kind of cool seeing the new classes people can turn into.
Oh, sure.
And seeing some of the new, the new art and the new abilities are kind of interesting. There is one character that's a summoner class, and you find all these summons as you're fighting through these different areas. It's actually a little bit like Octopath, where it's almost like a reverse Octopath. Everybody's together at the beginning, and you just keep going to each person's hometown, where it's like, oh, the noises are taking over this person's place. And you're like, oh, we should go. That's where I'm from. And so you fight their champion summon thing, and then you get that as a option that you can use with the summoner, and then you go back to Harmony and fight a couple more noises, and then they go, oh, actually the noises are over in my hometown now, so you have to go over to this place and see the fish people now. So at this point, I'm sure that's only going to last so long, but right now it is just kind of, hey, what's your weird snake person culture about? I guess let's go over to your hometown and fight some noises and talk to some people there, and then we'll go back home, and then we'll talk to the fish people, and then we'll go talk to the cow beastie people. I guess they're cat. I guess they're more like cats. It's aggressively fine.
Yeah. There's a place for those. Well, but Chase, give us update on that one.
Yeah, I don't exactly know what I'm going to write about it yet, because I'm still having trouble putting my finger on exactly why I don't like this game, and talking about that juice idea is something kind of interesting to me. So I'm kind of thinking about going down that road. But I'll have something up in the next handful of weeks, and then I'll be done with Backlog Roulette for 2023. Feeling
nice. Good. GG, as the kids say. I've been busy. I'm not going to bore you with all the games I've been playing, but I'm going to pull out a few that have left quite the impression on me so far. And I want to start with a Warhammer game. Stop me if you've heard this before. Okay. Warhammer 40,000 Rogue Trader came out on December 7th. This is developed by Owlcat Games. You might know them from other CRPG-esque video games, and that's exactly what this is. In short, it's basically what you would expect from a Baldur's Gate style game or a classic CRPG. You're building out a party of, I believe, up to 6 at a time. And it is really fucking cool. This has probably been the most I've gotten into some of the story and lore elements of Warhammer, because it's very much, you are learning about what a rogue trader is and what these other characters are and where they stand with stuff. And I'm finding that pretty fascinating. You do create a character, or you can get kind of a pre-built from one of the classes that they go with. what I want to call out is a few things that stand out from a system standpoint. So there's 4 classes that you pick at the beginning of the game. It's either a warrior, an officer, an operative, or a soldier. The officer class is pretty cool because that is a character almost like a bard that you are really using them to empower your party, and they're hyping them up, and you're kind of making good strategic calls there. It's not how I'm playing it. I'm going the soldier route because the next stop, the next tier up, and you don't get to go to all of these, but it can be a bounty hunter, it can be an assassin, vanguard, master tactician, grand strategist, or an arch militant. And then finally, it's an exemplar. And so you're pathing into these, and then you can do some really cool stuff with like, hey, maybe I'm a psyker that has melee abilities, or maybe I'm a psyker that's doing stuff with more ranged weapons, and that's really cool too. But all that stuff I find really fascinating from how you can play the game. What I also like about it is there's a whole alignment system in this game that focuses in on your choices matter. And so you're going to be presented with how to approach problems as they're unfolding. One of the first choices you can do is an iconoclast, which is like, hey, this is altruistic. I'm going to help anybody. I'm going to do the right thing, regardless of what gain might come from this. Then it has the dogmatic one, which fits really cool into the lore of this game, where it doesn't matter what's being done. You march towards your dogmatic belief. And then there's the heretical, which is like, this is the most chaos. Like it's really fucking cool. And what's even better about that is that once you start to morally align, there's certain gear that you can only equip at that point based off of how you're aligned, which is really fucking neat. So
that was cool in KOTOR. I remember that.
Yes.
It's like,
yes.
hey, what you can only wear these robes if you are
Correct.
Super light Jedi side. Yeah.
And then the abilities are really neat. Like my soldier has a run and gun, which I can basically do an action and then move them up and get another one. But you kind of trade off, like you're a bit more vulnerable after you do it, but you also get like +10 in ballistics when you do that. Weapons are really cool. I carry 2 different guns on me right now. So I've got a handgun and I've got a burst rifle. I have another soldier and she's all about area of effect. So she'll just like fucking mow people down like Tommy gun style, which is really neat. The psyker is so fucking overpowered. Like you can basically exploit people and figure out like weaknesses and all that shit. And that's not taking up all your actions that turn. And she gets all kinds of buffs. And then she has like this lightning chain ability that goes with it. It's really fucking cool, y'all. Johnny,
I know.
I think that you would really enjoy this one.
I know.
It's very fucking cool. But you need to finish Baldur's Gate before going down this sicko path.
Yeah, because it's a very lengthy game, right?
It is. It's a long game. Yeah, for sure. Okay. So this game, again, December 7th, Owlcat Games puts it out. You can buy this game for $50. I think it's on PC only. I might be wrong though. Definitely not going to be on Switch. Probably not on Xbox, or maybe it'll be on PlayStation. I don't know. Anyway,
I mean, it's an unfair question, but you kind of brought it up in comparison. Does this even hold a candle at all to something like Baldur's Gate? Or
the combat's really neat. Like Baldur's Gate's all D&D stuff, so you can really play around in those rules. But here, this is almost like XCOM Baldur's Gate. Like it feels a little bit more like that to me than some of the abilities you would have in a Baldur's Gate, because again, it's chain swords. Which the melee stuff is really fucking cool. There's some good stuff. There's like an Overwatch ability with a chainsword that's fucking awesome. The game's great. It's really good. You should check it out.
So have you become a lore head for?
No, not
for
yet.
Warhammer
Not yet.
You
not yet.
gonna read some books?
Yeah, there's a lot of reading in this, so maybe this will count for a book.
Okay.
I have a copy of the Horus Heresy sitting on my shelf.
That's the important one.
Johnny's going to start a new series called Whores on Whores, and it will be him talking about all those things. Another game I checked out, and speaking of Baldur's Gate, is Immortals of Avium. And so this game came out on August 22nd. It was published by Ascendant Studios. I'm sorry, it was developed by Ascendant. It was published by EA. That part is very important. They put this game out on August 22nd. And
anything else happen around there?
You
fucking,
know?
Baldur's Gate 3 came out and the world fucking stopped. I have to believe that EA.
It's like putting out a Sonic game is when a Mario game's about.
Or
to
it's
come
like
out.
putting out a sequel to Titanfall in between Battlefield and Call of Duty launches.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and here's the sad part about this studio, a mere weeks after the launch of this game, laid off 45% of their staff based off of the performance of this game.
It seems to be a going thing this year, right?
It is. So it's a big bummer. But again, I did not play this game. I know we covered it. We're like, oh, that looks neat, but maybe could be generic. And Baldur's Gate.
Generic. I can't even remember what that looked like. I'm pulling it up now just to remember which one this is.
So this is a first-person shooter where you are playing as a magician or a wizard, however you want to look at it.
Yes.
And rather than shooting your traditional bolt action shotgun or assault rifle, you have these different bracers that are occupied by a colored version of magic, so green, red, or blue, and you can swap between them. Look, I'm just gonna come out and say it. This might be like one of those, I can't believe people missed playing this. Like, is it a 10 out of 10? Absolutely not, but I'd say it's probably somewhere in 8 to 10 for me so far. It runs so well that when the combat unfolds, it's not as twitchy or gross as Doom, but it's more arena style shooter, in my opinion. Like, you're not really zooming in. You have an awesome offhand ability. So far, there's 2 things I've unlocked. The first you get is a magical whip that is basically the harpoon for Scorpion. You just whip people into you with this, and then you can do this awesome like melee attack, or you can use the red power, which is more of a shotgun blast. You also get spells that you'll find tied to your magic, and you can unlock those. Like, one I have is a shield breaker, where you push down into the ground, and then these giant spikes come up at an angle, and it will break any shield on an enemy. Super handy to have. Another one sends out kind of like drunken missiles that look beautiful when it happens, and it just hits all kinds of people around you when you do it. You can also pull up a shield, and that shield can have all kinds of things. Like, if it breaks, it's going to do an area of effect attack, because you have a big skill tree for each magical color that you're unlocking for new abilities. I just got one on my melee that if I hit somebody, it will do like a 20% increase to any red magic used against them, which works out great because red magic's that shotgun blast. So I can melee them. Well, I can whip them in melee when they land, and then shotgun blast, and kind of juggle that sort of combo. The other offhand ability is this flask that shoots out like these green goo orbs that just slow everything, and that can be used for puzzles to keep gates up longer. It can be used if there's a big brute coming your way. You can also hover, which is awesome when you're doing all this shit. The game is fucking great. It has really good acting. The writing walks a fine line of trying to be too funny at times, but the performance is really good. It looks gorgeous, and the combat is a ton of fucking fun.
Maybe it's just all the hand motions I was seeing you do. Like, this isn't in VR, right?
What's that? No,
there's no VR for this.
No. And the hand stuff, when you're going, the only time you really move your right hand is they have to do like a reload animation where you're kind of like recentering, and so they do that sort of thing. But you're not really moving your hand around too much. It's pretty static. Think of it more like a Mega Man blaster than anything else.
Sure. Yeah.
So it's really cool.
Mega Man in wizard form.
Yep. I got 2 more updates here. I'll be brief. Lego Fortnite. It came out, and it's Minecraft with Lego, but not only that. Like, it's not as free form as at least in the survival mode.
Some village building.
You're trying to get
a little bit
people to come and stay with you. Combat in it has a little bit of like Souls inspiration. You're going to drop your backpack. You're going to have to dodge and roll and all that shit.
Watching you guys play, it reminded me a lot of what's the one that starts with V that you guys
Valheim?
played?
Valheim?
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of Valheim, just with Lego bricks, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And they've done already a big major update. I don't know, Johnny, if you've played it, but they increased the cap of storage from 30 to 50. So your stacks can go up to 50 now, which is awesome.
Oh,
and
thank God.
they've already got plans to add in things like Sasquatch and a bunch of other beasts.
Sasquatch.
Yep. And they've added in more of the skins that you purchase for the Battle Royale version have Lego variants, which is fun. So there's a lot of...
I was playing as a Sith Trooper last time.
You were looking real good. It's great. Again, free, put out by Epic. It is... they are calling this a standalone game. It's not a seasonal thing. Like, it is here to stay. They launched this alongside Rocket Racing, which is from the developers of Rocket League, and then they have essentially Fortnite, Garage Band in there now, or not Garage Band, but Guitar Hero. And they've just announced there's I don't know if I remember this or not. They bought the studio that makes oh my god, what's the game show one, the real cute one that came out? Not Fall Guys, but is it Fall Guys? It is Fall Guys.
Yeah.
They bought that
I can't remember
studio.
the studio's name.
I'm pretty sure that they own them. And
I think
they
this
do.
is right. Yeah.
They're putting that game in Fortnite. So you'll basically launch Fall Guys with inside Fortnite now, which is wild.
That sounds like their MO these days.
And they're getting, and this is the one thing that, like, I think Jeff Grubb was talking about it on Game Mess Mornings, like, what else would you like to see them do? And I said, like, in my head driving in the car, I'm like, they should do sports, like NFL Blitz style sports. And that seems to be what they're doing. They've got a baseball game planned, a football game planned, and they're going to be putting that into this game as well. So they're doing it. Ready Player One.
What if they made a new Unreal tournament?
Yeah, dude.
Now we're talking.
That'd be fucking cool. Like a first person thing from them.
Yeah.
Like here's
I play
an
that.
idea. Not Fortnite, just a new Unreal Tournament box product that you can get. This is me being an old man.
Hey, Fortnite, make Half-Life 3.
God,
man, what a great rocket launcher that Unreal has.
It's very good.
It shoots one, or you charge it, and it like spins and shoots 3 at a time. Ah, fuck, that's so good. The flat can, god damn it,
it's a good one.
The last game I'm going to talk about is a game called Once Human. I'm in the beta for this. It is the game that everybody thought the day before was going to be.
Okay.
It is a survival game, but it feels like one that Kojima would make. And
okay.
So you start and you've got this backpack on that has a butterfly in it. And
good start.
It's very strange. Like, all these people are like zombies, but they have like stage lights for head, or they might have other weird shit. Like, it's very fucked. But you are you're cutting down trees, breaking up rocks, and it's kind of like, I guess, Rust or Ark in that vein. But the shooting in it feels just as good as something like The Division, which it reminds me kind of that. Like, The Division meets Kojima meets Rust. It's somewhere like in that realm of or DayZ's probably a better one.
I'm looking at the Steam pages. This is a game for sick people.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
You're building territory. It's all the Bobby P's bingo.
Yes. But
right, you know what I always say? It's better to be once human than too human.
That's
correct.
True.
This game is supposed to come out, I think, sometime in September, or at least like not September. I'm sorry, Q3. The beta runs really well. I believe that this is an Eastern studio. A lot of the stuff, it might be Korean. It seems to be in Korean. I think that's what I'm reading in the game. But people have really taken to it. It looks gorgeous. It plays really well. I think this is going to be a pretty big hit, especially if it comes in as like a free-to-play model. But I don't quite know where they'll land with it. But I've been checking that out and having a great time. Johnny, the beta is going to open up here again soon, and you can you download a launcher directly from them and play it that way.
I think I signed up.
Yeah,
I feel like I think he sent me a link.
Yep, for sure.
Two quick things for me. I picked Baldur's Gate 3 back up.
Oh yes,
and I want to say I'm well into Act 3. but I put several more hours into Act 3 of that game, and I'm inside the city of Baldur's Gate now, and I feel like this is the end game. I can see plot threads starting to come together, and wondering how they're going to culminate and what choices I'm going to have to make. And it was so nice to be hanging out with those characters again.
They're
Has
very
your top
good.
10 changed? Your personal top 10? Is that shifted?
No.
Okay.
He said what he said.
Yeah. Shit ain't nothing to me, man. I also, Bobby, you've played more of this than I have.
Okay.
But
That's true about most games.
Thank you, Chase. I decided because I could not care less about Avatar.
Same.
I've only seen the first movie once in theaters, haven't seen the sequel.
I've seen both in theaters. That's it.
And so if I have heard from you and Brad on Nextlanders talked about it, and just the reviews in general were like relatively positive. For something that I think we were dunking on.
Oh yeah, rightfully
pretty
so.
hard in all the advertisements, but I decided to pay $15 to get a month of Ubisoft Plus, and
I got news for you. You're going to keep that subscription rolling through January too.
This game's pretty cool.
This game is very cool. So
I'm not, like I said, I'm only a couple hours into it, so there's still a lot I haven't unlocked yet, but just visually,
oh my god,
it's one of the most beautiful games I've played this year. It's
oh my god,
insane
it's so good.
how good that this game looks. Also, I think the mobility and the way you move around feels quite nice, and you do feel like they're about like twice the size of a human being.
They're like 12 or 13 feet tall, I think.
Yeah.
The Navi.
So
right?
So yeah, just very surprised at like how much fun I'm having with that game.
Is there another game that you can think of that you've played that you've played despite the license attached to it? I mean, you guys Bobby just talked about Warhammer, which
I think Johnny played
you're
RoboCop.
not reviled by Warhammer, but yeah, but RoboCop, we like RoboCop.
I love RoboCop.
Okay.
You mean something that I like? I'm otherwise indifferent to.
I don't know. Not even just indifferent, because like something you play despite.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think of one for me.
There's just so.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's hard.
Licensed games like that
typically
or even get made these days. It seems like
Yeah.
I don't know if I would have even picked this thing up if it wasn't like abundantly clear that there's a foundation from Far Cry in it. Mm-hmm. Just knowing how much I like Far Cry games, I was like, oh, well, I like those. So at least if it's just like a reskin Far Cry, I can dig that.
That was the thing for me was like, I really didn't like 5 and 6.
5 was fine. It was fine. It was bad.
It's fine. Hit him with the bliss bullet.
Yeah,
it was fine, but it was bad. It was bad.
It was fine, bad, not bad.
Yeah, but also another thing that kind of inspired me was we went
to
Disney
You're welcome.
World. No, we went to Disney World this year in January, and one of the coolest rides I went on while I was there was an Avatar ride. It was a VR ride where you're riding on the back of one of those bird things, and it was amazing. I think that I actually feel like the Avatar property makes more sense in something as like potentially like vapid as a video game and not films, because the films are just I couldn't tell you any of the characters' name. Like we're not here to critique Avatar. Let's just say it's a mediocre film.
It's a little bit like Star Wars in that way. I mean, not everybody agrees with this, but like I find the smaller stories in Star Wars, the overall lore of Star Wars, to be really interesting. And when you get to the mainline movies outside of the original trilogy, I suppose, like I get into like
somehow,
it's like okay, it's these guys again.
Right.
It's fine, whatever. But like, I'm really interested in like the little bounty hunter stuff that's going on over here. I'm really interested in the Ewok stuff that's going over here.
I was talking to a couple of my friends about the game. Yeah, and I had no idea who the bad guy was in the first movie, and capitalism. Capitalism was the bad guy, but it's the same guy that they beat, and I think he is in this game too. And I'm just like,
I don't.
okay.
So, what I think is going on that's pretty fascinating is it is not directly following. Like they even mentioned when you first get in there, I think Jake Sully is the guy's name. It's like Jake Sully is the native now. He's here doing this. It's like because you were captured by military as a child, and then they keep you on ice literally for like 13 years. And the whole thing is about you connecting back into your ancestral
tribe, right?
roots. Yeah. And they don't really spend too much time on that in the movies. Like it's always there a little bit, but it's more about this big fucking army hunting them down. This is like you're taking your time discovering the fauna and all that shit in the game, and you're getting to like craft stuff, and it's neat. Like if you like the part where you're making ammo pouches and shit in Far Cry, this is for you. If you don't like that part of Far Cry where you get to go and hunt and collect, you're probably not going to like it as much.
Yeah. Let's see. Another thing I picked up just today is Kerbal Space Program 2.
Hell yeah, I got it too.
Sure.
I played a little bit.
I've not played these at all. I think I'll lose myself to it.
And when this one came out, it came out in early access like the original game did. It came in real hot, and it was missing a lot of the features and things that were in the first game, but they just put out an update today, I think. The for Science update came out yesterday. And it sounds like it added everything that was missing. It also has like a campaign mode now. Where you're earning science that you use to unlock like stuff along a research tree. And so far,
have you flown anything yet?
Oh yeah, I've flown and destroyed
have you crashed anything yet?
There have been many deaths so far.
Have you flown anything that you haven't crashed?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
the very first thing I built.
Nice.
Everything after that, though, because you have to, it gives you these challenges, and that's how you earn more science to do more research. And it wants you to go up 10,000 meters, and then come back down. And getting up there is relatively easy.
Yeah, that's easy.
That's the easy part, right?
Just throw some more boosters on it. It'll be fine.
And I've been figuring out how the couplings work. So, like, you disengage to reduce the weight, and you're actually learning how rockets work, which is one of the reasons why I was so interested in this series. But I also was very intimidated by it.
You're gonna go work for SpaceX? Is that
oh no!
Exactly.
Oh no!
My hero.
Oh no!
If your future employer sees what you've written about him, I don't think you're getting that job.
Well, satire.
I don't think he understands satire.
He loves jokes. All he does is tell jokes, and then he has his AI explain what it means and why it's so funny.
Oh my god!
That's an actual thing that happened.
Oh
no. Yeah, so this game seems really, really cool. And
it's co-op, right? I think it is. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that you and I can play together, which
how would that
that's
even
single
work?
player. It's single player.
I thought they made this one a multiplayer.
Nope. Yeah, I'm very eager.
I'm trying to think of how that would work. Like you crash into Bobby's rocket with your own rocket.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool. I don't have a lot to say about it yet because I've only played.
He just thinks they're neat.
That game series has always kind of been like Hitman for me, where it's I enjoy watching other people play that game, but that is not a game I'm going to pick up myself and play and enjoy. But totally cool to watch other people build shit and crash it and or succeed.
Or succeed because you can go to whole other planets and explore, and there's like a whole other layer to this than just
what was that game? Was that 2021 or 2020 that had like the FMV rocket building in it?
Oh shit! Yeah,
that game fucking ruled.
That game was really cool.
I'd play that again. Chase, we should stream that game some night.
Sure.
God damn it! What was the name of that game?
FMV rocket
I don't remember.
game.
Oh, it was so
Next
good.
Space Rebel.
Would you say
yes?
Would you say it was chaotic? What would happen in there?
Yeah, it was pure chaos.
Oh, okay. What if I told you I don't
activated his
know?
trap card.
What?
I don't know anything, but I know I need to kill chaos. I'm talking, of course.
Wow. Yeah, that wasn't a very forced transition at all.
Yeah.
I think that segue died on the way back to its home planet.
It did. Let's redo it.
Oh my god, you are terrible. And you write headlines?
Yeah. Hey, they can't all be winners.
I think the origin of that joke was terrible.
I'm no stranger to terrible segues.
This is not Paradise. Can we do something else?
Talk about this game.
I bought Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin, a game that I have been
You did it your way.
Yeah, look,
it's your way or the highway.
By this game, shut up. Just so intrigued. Like everything I read about it, it just sounds like
I am intrigued by Stranger of Paradise. What a
Final
fucking
Fantasy Origin.
I mean, it's in the same vein as Avatar. The stuff I've heard about that game sounds like it's way better than it has any.
Oh yeah, I've heard that.
It is. It's insane. Okay,
is it turn based or is this one action?
This is dark. This is a Dark Souls game.
This is Team Ninja, baby. This is
okay. This is Johnny shit.
This is the Neo guys making a Final Fantasy Dark Souls.
But also like just
everyone can wear fedoras.
Yeah.
Oh my! Is that true?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a fedora equipment that you can.
Okay, so the premise of this starts in a very confusing manner where it plays like a 3D rendered movie, and then like some other unrelated thing happens, and then your character wakes up in a field, and his name is Jack, and he wanders into this town, and he meets these two other guys that have these crystals, and he's like, I don't know who I am, but I know I'm supposed to kill chaos. And they're like, wow, my crystal's glowing too. And then they bump fists and you're bros. And then
it's a good cutscene.
You're just with your bros going on adventures. And
the thing that's always weirded me out is that it's based in the same world as Final Fantasy 1.
Yes.
It's the very first Final Fantasy. Which
I've played a decent size amount, decent amount of,
and that's like a medieval ass video game. Like it's swords and shields and magic
and jobs.
And then you open up this game and guys are wearing suits.
Yeah,
and they're fedoras. Where the fuck? What's happening?
I don't know. But I love it. It's so stupid and taking itself so seriously.
And this is like a prequel, or like it overlaps with the beginning of Final Fantasy 1?
Dude, I don't fucking know, and I don't care. Okay. All I know is there are
crystals. They can't kill chaos, because killing chaos is what.
Yeah, why would you do that?
You can't do that.
Well, I guess I'm on a doomed journey then.
Yeah, these are not the four warriors of light. They're going to fail. I don't know. I don't know what happens in this game.
I don't know either.
Johnny, as a Dark Souls fan, you enjoy these types of games.
Yeah, this is much more like it feels much more like Devil May Cry than a Neo or something. The difficulty isn't as crushing as what you have there. It even has 2 different story modes. Like it has a casual mode, and then there's another one that's even easier than that if you just want to get in there and fuck shit up and watch the very stupid story play out on the screen for you. And your 2 companions that you start with are each their own class. And then Jack, the guy that you control, can toggle between all the different classes. And you can have 2 jobs equipped at the same time. And you also have unique gear equipped for each job so that when you switch it, his outfit is switching. And the way that you switch it is by hitting Y. So you'll just be in the middle of combat, you tap Y, and suddenly your outfit's different, and all the attacks you do.
13 does, right? Like when you do like the paradigm shifts, I think you shift into like different. I don't know if it shifts your look as well, but like, it kind of shifts your class. And coming from a guy who hasn't played a lick of 13,
but you have a regular attack. You can charge it. You have an ability on the right trigger, And then depending on what job you're doing, so like if you are playing as a magic kind, if you hold the trigger, you can move the left stick around to choose which spell you're going to cast. And the longer you hold it down, the more it charges it. So it'll be like Fire, Fyra, Faraga. And when you switch to like the halberd class, the right trigger, you throw the halberd instead of, having spells that you would switch to. So you're able to swap between all these abilities on the fly and just really fuck shit up. You have kind of like I almost define it as like a parry system. When you hold X or B, I can't remember which, but when an attack is coming towards you, if you hit that button, it'll charge it, and then you can unleash it in like a counter attack. And all the enemies have like a stagger meter. And once you break it, then you can do a super heavy attack where Jack usually like rips their head off or punches them.
Sure.
And they turn into red crystals and explode. And it's
move
really
over Kratos.
Cool. Yeah. It honestly, it's a lot like that. And I don't know what I was expecting like from this game. I just remember hearing how bonkers it was and seeing the cutscenes and stuff, and I was like, I really don't want to pay $60 for this, but if a good deal comes along, I will probably buy this. And I think I paid like $15 for it on the Epic Store right now.
Pretty good deal.
Yeah,
not bad.
It's so dumb and just an absolute blast to play. Like I think the combat is really, really good. At least what I've experienced so far, and it feels like I just got the 4th character added to my party, and as far as I can tell, you don't have any. Well, you can do like you can in Mass Effect, like on either side of the D-pad to like tag them, and then they'll focus on the enemy that you have highlighted when you click the right stick. That's how you lock on.
Awesome.
Yeah, seems very cool so far.
Well, that was a lot to get through. We've been busy for sure, and I think we'll continue to be busy. If you are new to the show, this is typically when we start telling you about the news around the games that we've been playing. But tonight, we're just going to round out this episode with our 2024 resolutions. As Chase said earlier, these are more loosely structured. It can be anything from reading books to playing and enjoying horror. So let's get into it. We don't have it in writing yet, but we will put it in writing. Chase, what is your 2024 resolution?
Do you want to? Are we just doing one? Like, do you guys have multiples?
I brought a resolution.
I have a resolution that involves multiple things.
I brought 5.
We've never done that many, Chase.
I did like 4 last year, I think.
I don't know if I remember that.
It was the reading. It was the backlog. I don't know. I don't have to do all 5.
It was the year of Chase.
Why don't I talk about this one first? Whether it comes up on 2024's backlog roulette wheel or not, I am going to beat A Link to the Past this next year, calendar year of 2024. It's going to happen. That's a game that I have rented. It's a game I've borrowed from friends. It's a game I've played at friends' houses. Yeah. It's a game I've purchased used copies of, and everything I know about the game is either the very beginning or a random place in the middle where somebody has almost everything unlocked, and I don't know where to go because I'm jumping in midway.
Man, it's hell of a thing.
This is a time where I'd be like, it's supposed to be one of the best games of all time. I've got like 4 copies hanging around. I've got like a complete in-box copy. I've got the Game Boy Advance version. I've got so many versions of this fucking game. I'm going to beat it.
You should probably play one of them.
I'm going to play it sometime this year. Link to the Past is getting beaten in 2024.
Fair. I think that's a good one.
Yeah.
We'll go through Johnny 9 if you want to pepper in a few more. Like, we can do that for sure.
Sure.
For me, I made a purchase. I shouldn't have, but I did, and I'm glad I did. I have one of those fancy analog pockets.
That's a good system.
There's a lot of
fantastic, beautiful piece of hardware.
There's a lot of multiple analog.
I did.
Some say that you tricked your friends.
I did that too. Yes, I did.
It was a good trick. It was most of his tricks.
I I had an Atomic Purple, Game Boy Pocket Color, whatever you want to call it, back in 98, I believe it was. And that's what I was introduced to Pokemon on. My parents would not buy me handheld gaming devices because we had Nintendo at home, and that's where I should be. We didn't really travel that much, and my parents knew I would do exactly what I did. I would find ways to be distracted and play my Game Boy everywhere. Having said that, I never kept up with it. I briefly had the DS when it came out because that was around the time that I had my own income, and I pre-ordered that, and I realized that I was not playing it because I really wasn't going anywhere, and I was just playing my other systems. So I have a pretty
2DS XL at one point.
I did have that,
and now I own that system.
I wanted to play through all the mainline Pokemon games post Red and Blue, and that's what I did there. But I have a pretty big gap in my gaming library for games that I've never been able to play. I mean, I shouldn't say I've never been able to play. I could play, but now I can. And with Chase's help, I'm going to be playing more of those because I have picked at least 5 games that I'd like to get through that are from that period in time. And that's my resolution for the year.
Yeah, we kind of did. I mean, I have this kind of on my list too that I want to play more handheld games this year. And part of that is going to be helping Bobby with this kind of journey that he's on. And Johnny's jumping in as well. We don't need to reveal everything about it, but we're going to kind of do a backlog roulette pocket edition in 2024. It's not going to be every month. Like I'm still going to do my backlog roulette every month, but maybe in lieu of, maybe 4 of those months can be pocket edition ones where we spin a different wheel and play one of the handheld games that shows up there. So I made a list, Johnny made a list, Bobby made a list of some of the games that we think are important or really good or really interesting that we want to check out, and we'll be spinning that wheel at some point. We don't know when exactly, but that should be a fun thing. We'll all get to play stuff on the pocket, and then maybe even do stuff for my other podcast, my handheld video game podcast, Gamers on the Go. So that'll be real fun.
We haven't nailed down what exactly it's going to be, but Casual Boys is going to be a stream that we do on Casual Mondays, where we do play something off the pocket on stream that's not a part of that list, but more of something that would fit the mold for what Casual Mondays are. So we're working on.
It would be great for that.
What's that?
The Pokemon trading card game.
Well, hey, we'll just play that.
We'll just restart, except now we'll do it on the pocket. Perfect.
Yep. But I got the dock and I got a new hub set up. So I've got anything that's Apple or iOS, my ROG Ally, the Switch, my Pocket, all hooked up into the capture card now, and I can capture all those things for us. So I've opened up and diversified our ability of what we can capture here on the Casual Hour, and I'm looking forward to streaming some stuff off of this little device.
Oh yeah, that'll be great.
Cool.
Johnny, what do you got going
on? So you both know I love FromSoft, right?
No.
I don't know. I was the only one who liked Armored Core 6, apparently, looking at Game of the Year results.
Did you
It was on my backlog.
That the only Soulsborne games I have ever played to completion are Dark Souls 3 and Elden Ring?
Yes.
I can believe that you haven't finished video games yet.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So you're playing Kingsfield?
Yep. I would like to finish, because I have playthroughs on all of those games that are varying degrees of progress. So what I would like to do is return to those old saves.
Oh, you're saying that you're starting a series called Souls Man. I'm a Souls Man?
Yep. And I would like to finish all of those games that I have not finished.
All of them?
I mean, I'm going to try and finish.
Game of the Year is going to be real fucking tiny for you this year.
Probably Dark Souls 1. Okay, let's do this. So Dark Souls 1, Bloodborne, Sekiro. I want to finish those 3 games.
Is he chopping up for you?
He's very much chopping up.
Yeah, he says you're goddamn robot.
You guys are chopping up for me.
I think he's purposefully chopping up so he doesn't have to
Answer the question.
Actually, yeah, absolutely.
I answered the question. Dark Souls, Bloodborne, Sekiro. I want to finish those 3 games.
Okay.
All right. Starting when? Say when.
Starting in 2020.
He's got 12 months to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Starting
so you've got 4 months to beat each one of those games.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see what you do with it.
Love it.
So you'll have Dark Souls 1 completed by April.
If all goes to plan.
Hey, he could save them all and do them all in the final week of December if he wants to.
Well, that's apparently when he makes.
He's getting all of them done.
That's the week that he makes all those big Game of the Year decisions. Apparently.
Hey, do you want to know the system that I probably have the most progress on with Dark Souls?
A PlayStation.
Is the Switch. No, the Switch. I bought the remastered version on the Switch.
Even I don't like that.
God.
It only runs at 30. I own the original PC version, which is a dumpster fire, and requires mods to work properly.
Oh, I've got one for us. I'm gonna try and play whatever game we say we'll play on Friday.
Yeah, good fucking luck with that. It's nice to want things.
Yeah, wish in one hand.
I can run down my other ones. They're pretty quick and easy. One, I want to commit more time to playing.
2 things Chase is absolutely not.
Yeah.
Quick and easy.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've talked about doing itch stuff. I've played some itch stuff before the shows sometime this year, but I want to get better about looking up and finding cool little games and talking about them more here. So I don't know what that's going to be. I'm not formalizing that in a way. It's not going to be like a backlog roulette kind of thing with itch.io games, but I just want to get better at talking about that and be more consistent. Speaking of consistency, I had a big gap. I started Chasey K Plays this year, my YouTube channel, where I started recording some gameplay footage stuff, and that's been really fun. But I took a big break between some stuff as my PC was getting built and set up, and as I was trying to figure out more things that I wanted to do with that. And I think so far, like near the end of the year, I've gotten in a more consistent rhythm, finishing SteamWorld Heist and playing through Stadium Brats right now. In fact, hey, there's a new episode of Stadium Brats out right now. You can watch me and a friend of the show, Jiggy-san, as we take down the Pika Cup, which was a lot harder than it should have been. But I want to. My resolution is to be even more consistent with Chasey K Plays and to do more stuff with that. And I don't think that's ever going to be strictly a weekly thing, but I think that's something I want to have some content every month up there for Chasey K Plays. So that's another thing I'm going to be doing. And then the last one, this one's a bit of a wild card dumb one. I wanted to encourage myself to continue reading. I'll tell you, reading Three Kingdoms took most of the year because that book is fucking long. And I had a blast. It was awesome, and I'm still reading now, but I want to continue to force myself to read. So I'm gonna read the Magic the Gathering Kamigawa book cycle, which is probably terrible, but I'm gonna do it anyway. That was a set that was big when I was in high school when I was playing Magic, and I liked the flavor of the cards. But I don't really know much of anything about it. So there are 3 books. They're much shorter than the Three Kingdoms books, thankfully. So I think that's something I can easily read. I'm sure they're fucking terrible. But,
I'm sure they are. Yes.
We're gonna read them and see what happens. So that's my reading commitment outside of the other reading stuff that I'm gonna do for fun.
Nice, man. Well, we got those resolutions. Well, most of them are written down in our note here. We'll put those in stone and have that ready to go. But if you are new to what we do around here, go back and check out the last few episodes. What would that be? Today is episode 357. So we've got 353, I think, 4 and 5 or somewhere in those. We have a lot of Game of the Year coverage. Go follow along with it. You can see all of our stuff is not loading here in chat, which is great. I don't know.
354, 355, and 356 are our
nice
Game of the Year coverage episodes.
if you want to follow along with all of our stuff, we're on Linktree. Just look for the Casual Hour and you can find it. We have a ton of fun stuff going on this week. We played a playtest on Monday night for Casual Mondays of Zillions, a fantastic deck builder. So tune in on YouTube or Twitch to see our VOD on that. I have not gotten up to any of our quick looks this week. I apologize. I thought this was going to be a pretty easy breezy end of the year work week before holiday, and it has absolutely not been that. So I've been swamped. I'll try and get those quick looks edited and put out before the year's end, though. And then Friday night, Johnny and I will be joined by friend of the show, Jason, to play some Lego Fortnite. And I think we're going to probably start a whole new world there. And that'll probably be the world that Johnny and I play in. Well, maybe we'll
Dazzling place you never knew.
A dazzling place never knew. Johnny and I have we've got a world going already, so we'll probably stick to that one. But that game's great. You can see it live on Friday. Chase, none of the links are working here, but I know you had pitched earlier kind of the stuff you've been doing. Is there anything else you need to talk about what you got going on?
Nope, I mentioned Chase K Plays. Go check that out and see the new episode of Stadium Brats. It was a lot of fun, and I think Johnny and I are going to try to record the next one here real soon.
Cool.
And then, like I mentioned with Astria Ascending, I'm going to write something about that to fulfill my final Backlog Roulette requirement of 2023. Also, with Backlog Roulette, I'm still going to do that, but I think I'm going to cut the writing portion of it. Writing's been fun. I'm glad that I'm still getting to write, but I write professionally, so I'm tired sometimes, and I would just like to play the video games and not have to come up with a think piece about everyone.
Yep.
So I'll keep playing a bunch of old games. I'm just not going to necessarily write about them unless I feel like I want to. So yeah, you can find that article that will eventually go up at gamersonthego.com. That'll probably go up sometime in the next couple of weeks, I would think.
Awesome. Well, this has been episode 357. We hope you all are doing well. Come back to whatever link you're watching or have watched to see us play Lego Fortnite